Star Fox 64 is the second game in the Star Fox franchise, renamed over here to the Lilac Wars for some reason. I checked some articles regarding this change, but for some reason I couldn't really find anything definitive. One of the theories came from the developers saying it was to avoid confusion to a German company called Star Vox. That is the more consistent reason I have managed to find, but I'm not entirely sure personally. But to briefly cover the development of this game, in 1993 the company Argonaut Games released Star Fox for the Super Nintendo. Star Fox was a joint venture between them and Nintendo, since Argonaut helped out with technical stuff for the NES and the SNES, with them creating the Super FX chip, which allows the SNES to render 3D-like shapes in the Super Nintendo. What started off as a concept soon morphed into Star Fox, a on-rails space shooter being 3D as the main selling point, along with a quirky cast of characters you need to protect. These characters consist of Fox McCloud, the leader, Falco Lombardi, the hotshot flyboy I guess, Slippy Toad, and Peppy Hare. I don't really have a lot to say about them, to be honest. These guys form the mercenary group known as Star Fox, who have been hired to stop the evil galactic invasion by the villainous Andros. The game was successful, selling over 2 million copies upon release. No-brainer that a sequel would be in development. Which is true. The game Star Fox 2 was completed, but the game was wound up cancelled due to Nintendo releasing the N64. Back to square one, Argonaut along with Nintendo reused some ideas from Star Fox 2 to create a brand new game, a complete reboot of the series. Thus, Star Fox 64 was released to unanimous acclaim and since gone down in history as one of the best N64 titles ever. Well, ever released actually, but you know. A bit strange that it takes their second game to reboot the entire franchise. Normally when series do that, the first game, or maybe the second game, or any of the previous entries would be really, really bad. Or just didn't sell too well, and didn't really appeal to the audience that they're trying to aim for. But whatever the case, Star Fox 64 is a complete reboot of the franchise going forwards now. So, yay. That's cool, I guess. Much like any other Nintendo game, the story is not really the main focus, but with this game in particular, it feels more character-driven than anything else. So, here we go for the main plot details. In the far-off galaxy of the Lilac system, a monkey man thing named Andros was polluting each world within the solar system. This caused him to be banished by General Pepper, who led the military army of Corneria, homeworld to all living things within this galaxy. Andros was banished to the planet Venom, where he was never heard from again for a while. Well, until Pepper received some odd readings coming from Venom. Pepper quickly hired the Star Fox team, a band of mercenaries who work closely with the Corneria army. This team consists of James McCloud, the leader, Peppy Hare, James's wingman, and Pigma Dangar, who volunteered for the investigation. Upon arrival to Venom, Pigma betrayed the Star Fox team, shooting down James and taking Peppy as prisoner. Peppy managed to escape Venom and returned to Corneria to tell James's son, Fox, about his father's fate. Many years later, Andros is back with a goal to take over the Lilac system. General Pepper hires a new generation of Star Fox. This team consists of Fox McCloud, the leader and son of James, Falco Lombardi, second in command and a cocky ace pilot, Peppy Hare, James's old wingman and sort of a mentor to Fox, and Slippy Toad, mechanic and Fox's childhood best friend. This new generation heads out to stop Andros and save the Lilac system. Star Fox plays like a 3D space shooter. If you're familiar with arcade space shooter games, then you'll feel right at home here. The analog stick moves you around in these on-rail sections. A is to shoot and B is to fire a smart bomb. You can hold down A to charge your shots, which will lock on and home into other targets. The blast radius is quite big, so you should be able to blow up surrounding targets with its splash damage as well. The smart bombs have a much bigger splash damage radius, but you can only collect them during the stages. Once they're gone, they're gone. Hey, post-editing Shy Guy here. I also forgotten to mention these two things as well about the on-rails shooting stuff. Especially on the, well, you know, the dogfights and the open areas and stuff like that. Basically, you're able to boost as well as brake. The boosting basically just makes you speed up, well, very quickly, while the brake just basically allows you to brake just for a little bit. It's all measured by a little bar which is shown up right here underneath the, what was it on top? Whatever, where the the smart bombs are. Unlike the smart bombs, the boost as well as the brake meter recharges over time. It's a little bit slower than the usual sort of stuff, but you'll probably get the hang of it. Aerial tricks also do something like this as well, but I think at this point I won't even talk about it yet. So, you know, peace. Some stages end off with all range mode, which allows you to freely fly about a large area, either fighting off ships, bosses, or just your rival team's Star Wolf, which consists of Wolfo Denel, I think I pronounced that name right, the leader, Pigma Dangar, the traitor, and just a general scumbag, Leon Paluski, a bloody chameleon and assassin, and Andrew Oikony, Andros's nephew, inexperienced pilot, and just an overall twat. You'll need to fight these guys in dogfights within large areas. Personally, I'm not a big fan of these parts due to many different reasons. Enemies are so hard to see that I don't even know if I'm shooting at them or not. The radar isn't very helpful at telling me how high or low the enemy is, and finally, your allies have flashing triangles to signal who you shouldn't be firing at. But I just end up firing at them anyways because flashy things draw my attention. You can do these aerial maneuvers, like a somersault, a 180 turn, and a... I know it's technically called an aileron roll, but technically you're no fun in bed if you correct me on that. These maneuvers are not very easy to pull off. The barrel roll is quite easy, just double tap the shoulder buttons. But the somersault and the 180 is really tricky to pull off. You have to be very precise with the button presses. Half the time I just boost forward and fly upwards when I'm trying to do a somersault. It might just be me. I don't know, it's probably just a skill issue or something, I don't know. Even in like these on-rail sections you can do just a somersault, but half the time I'm just boosting forwards going upwards when I'm trying to do the somersault! Anyways, you'll be mostly using the R-Wing for the majority of the game. But some planets you do end up using the Landmaster, a fast-moving battle tank which can do most of the things that the R-Wing can, except for flying and having wing durability. So, if the R-Wing gets 2 damage in one side, that wing will break, and this sucks. Since the wing is broken, it affects the controls of the bloody thing, leaving you to drift either left or right, or just fly down if you lose both wings. Brilliant. I love this feature if you possibly couldn't tell. Either you complete the mission so it could get repaired, or find these power-ups that can repair them. The power-ups are these ring things. The silver ones would refill your health, while the gold ones does the same thing, but if you collect 3 of them, they will extend your health for that mission. Or probably for the entire game if you don't get a game over or something. I don't know, I didn't really play this part a lot, and I'm quite terrible at staying alive, shall we say. So, yeah, skill issue on my end. If you collect the same power-up that repairs your ship without being too damaged, your guns get upgraded from a single dinky little beam to 2 powerful blasters. Collect the power-up again, and your guns are fully upgraded, and they become the most powerful thing in your arsenal so far. To be honest with you, I love when I get this sort of thing. It just makes you feel so powerful. So satisfying to use as well, since it just blasts 2 blue beams just right at the enemies. It's actually really fun to use, but it sucks when you have to lose a wing and you just go back to the dinky little, single pea shooter that just shoots at everything. The submarine controls like the R-Wing, but moves at the speed of an old man with arthritis. I don't like this thing. The stage is so boring. But you're only in it once, and that's it. So that's cool. Whoa. Speaking of once, this game is so replayable. How it works is that depending on how well you do in a stage, you can go into 3 different directions. The game is quite short, though, so each pathway won't take you too long to beat. My rough estimate is either 2 to 3 hours at most. but it all depends really on how well you do with each planet. 2 of these nets you a final boss with a robot Andross, while the hardest path leads you to fight the real Andross himself, who is just a head and hands. Creepy. All I can say, really, to be honest. Hey, it's much better than the Super Nintendo version, where it just looks like a nightmare! Holy crap! Hey, it's me, most likely post-editing Shy Guy here. This part is just completely unscripted. Let's just say I sort of stopped playing this game after, I guess, the final stage. Like, before Venom on the best part, so... Fuck me! Look, if you see me just intentionally crashing my ship on purpose, those were my last 2 sort of lives before I died. What happened here was, I lost half of my fucking team to the previous stage, so I only had Slippy and myself. Now, keep this in mind, right? There are 4 members of Star Wolf, right? And do you know what happens when they don't have their own individual team members to go after? That's right, they come after me. They all start shooting at me. And I had to try and sort of like avoid trying to get shot half the time. And then I have to do all this shit. And then my health just suddenly went completely kaput. It's just like, fuck! You can tell right now from my voice that I am really frustrated right now. I've decided it will be best if I just record someone else's footage. I know, to be honest with you, it's kind of stupid, and to be honest, as a reviewer, it's not really my best decision to do. But here's the thing, You see how fucking frustrated I am? But in the past, I did complete this game. Not 100%, but I did play through this part, and I will say this live on air or something, that I have actually beaten this game on, like, the hardest parts. So, I know what happens at the end, I know what happens when you get the best ending. Andross just loses all his skin and dies and shit like that. I'm just gonna find someone else's footage, just to sort of, like, replace this bit of the video right here. Just to give proof that it does happen. Yeah, again, this isn't really my best decision right now. As a reviewer, I should review a game and actually complete it. But to be honest with you, I'm just tired of playing this game all the time right now. I played it all at once on the fucking Nintendo Switch Online stuff, and then I had to play through this video like twice already. And to the point where I'm just tired and I want to move on to something else now. So just gonna leave it as that. Some of these pathways require you to have a high score while keeping your team alive, but the hardest path requires you to do specific tasks. Either flying underneath these tunnels or shooting out these searchlights, to simple tasks like shooting enough enemies in one stage. You kinda do need a guide for this, since the game doesn't really tell you how to do these sorts of things in the first place. Anyways, you beat Andross, the galaxy is saved, and Star Fox is congratulated on their hard work. But in the bad ending, Andross returns, and Star Fox sets out to stop him again. I guess not as infuriating as Mega Man on this regard, but whatever. Not a bad ending, mind you, but the quote-unquote best ending is quite nice. Wouldn't be too out of place in a cheesy Top Gun film, or like... I don't know anything like Top Gun, to be honest. Speaking of quotes, this game is so quotable. Like the aforementioned, the game is fully voice acted, so you get legendary lines like,
I guess I should be thankful.
and
Hey Einstein, I'm on your side.
I know this is 1997, and it wasn't until 98 when we got Metal Gear Solid, which set a new standard for video game voice acting going forward, but this is still really good stuff here overall, to be honest. I really love a lot of the line deliveries here. It's just so good to hear them in this way, I guess. On that note of sound, I wasn't really too fond of this game's soundtrack. There's some tracks that I do like the Star Fox theme, but other than that, I really don't remember a lot of the tracks from this game. Oof, wow, that's only like, what, 2 games in a row? And there's already just games that I didn't really like in terms of soundtracks. Hopefully that will change. Star Fox 64 is a classic. While I don't find a lot wrong with the game, there are parts that I'm not much of a fan of. doesn't drag the game down in my opinion, but it would be nice to have a much better way of distinguishing between friend or foe in the orange mode parts. But I do agree, the submarine sucks due to how slow the damn thing is. Overall, I give Star Fox 64 an A for amazing. Thank you all so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe if you can, and click the tiny little bell button, just in case you need to stay tuned for practically all these other things that I've got planned. If you got any ideas on what I could review next, leave it down in the comments below and I'll add it to the list. See you guys later. Shy Guy out.